But so now moving on to another milestone that was reached by Steph Curry. Obviously this season has been milestone after milestone, but now he is one of 49 players in NBA history to have reached the 20,000 point club. So, what do you guys think? We all know who Steph Curry is and where he is in terms of all-time rankings, and we kind of know the kind of impact he has made. But so, where do you guys see him? Sort of when you project it out, like, do you guys see him? Where do we see him ending up in terms of the bigger picture of all-time points?
Now, here's the thing: are we talking about points scored, or are we going to talk about like where he ends up, top X number of players all time?
We can do both.
We can do both. See what
Why
happens.
not?
Listen, I haven't looked at like the full scoring total points list. I know that Kareem holds that. And
38 something.
Yeah, and if we're including playoffs, it's none other than Mr. LeBron James.
Yep.
But Steph Curry changed the game. We know that. There are videos of people on Twitter talking about Steph Curry ruined youth basketball because everyone's checking up. That's just silly. But the reality is he really did change the game, has changed the game. Our producer, Alex Walls, don't know a bigger Steph Curry fan than him, always rocking the Curry kicks. And he does it for a good reason because, listen, I love James Harden, but Steph Curry, is in a whole nother level. And if we're going to talk about where he ends up, top 20, he's top 20 already.
Sure.
I think it just ends up, will he be the greatest point guard to ever, grace the game of basketball? Because you got Magic Johnson, They just came out with that show on HBO. Have you guys seen that on the Lakers?
No, I've seen the trailer, but I have not watched the show yet.
Watched the first episode, so I can't speak for the whole series, but extremely entertaining. And, if anyone is not familiar with Magic Johnson and the legacy and everything that comes with him in Los Angeles, I highly recommend that show. And Adam McKay always does a great job. But, man, I really think that's what it's going to come down, Magic or Steph. Because, listen, I love Oscar Robertson. I think everyone should respect him, but I think this whole Russell Westbrook triple-double has kind of dispelled,
he's not.
Is a triple-double as important as we once thought it was?
Not if you're losing games.
Exactly. So he got his ring with Kareem, but, I'm ready to say Steph Curry. I'll put him ahead of Oscar Robertson.
Absolutely.
Steph Curry, Magic Johnson. I just created this debate. I apologize, Gokul. You so wonderfully crafted this question, but I wouldn't be shocked if Steph Curry at some point is like a top 10 all-time guy just because of how lethal he is as a scorer, as a facilitator, and even his defense goes underrated.
Yeah, this is probably a little quick to say, but I almost have him as the best point guard of all time already, to be honest. Which is controversial. Almost. I didn't say he's better than Magic Johnson, but he's I think he's easily better than, Oscar Robertson, Jerry West. And of course a lot of old players are going to say that's ridiculous. But I think the fact that he was like, I'm going to just shoot it from out here, and everybody's like, that's ridiculous. And then he went and changed the entire game of basketball, hit 20,000 points the other day, is now, everybody talks about his defense and handling. A lot of people say handling isn't as good as Kyrie. I used to be on that boat, but that's kind of ridiculous at this point. His defense is underrated. He's one of the best ball handlers. He's one of the best passers. You can't say he's just a shooter at this point. He's so much more than that. So, honestly, it's going to be weird to see. It's going to be interesting to see if he gets to 30,000. He's already 33. He's drafted in 2009, 12 years ago. So we'll see, or 13 years ago. We'll see if he gets to that point where he hits 30,000. I think he'll probably get close. I really don't know if he'll hit it, honestly. He's running out of time.
We're now joined by a caller who says that Eli Keeler he's out of his mind for putting him over Matt. No, I'm just kidding. You really think that he's better than Magic right now?
Well, first of all, I said he wasn't. He said he was almost there. But just for the conversation.
What puts him over the edge then?
All right.
If he hasn't already.
You know what? I'm changing my answer. Steph Curry's the best point guard of all time. Listen. who else has done what he's done? And to be fair, I may watch this Lakers documentary and change my answer because I have not watched a ton of Magic Johnson, but you've created your own. It's beyond the level of good at basketball. This is my way of basketball, and it's better than your way of basketball is what he did. And I think that's unbelievable, unfathomable. And I kind of used to be a Steph Curry hater, but I've definitely turned the page in the last couple of years, and he is a ridiculous specimen of a human being, and obviously best shooter of all time, and it's not even close.
Eli, people couldn't fathom the idea of a 6'9" point guard back in 1979.
Right.
You know? And you know what? He comes in as a 20-year-old rookie. What's he do? Win a ring.
Look,
now, we weren't alive for that.
Right.
So
I'm not, this is not even a slight to Magic Johnson. Incredible basketball player, obviously. I just think specifically what Steph Curry did is unlike what anyone else has ever done.
Yeah, I mean, I think at the end of the day, I think we can all come and agree that Steph Curry's impact on the game has been transcendent. And one of the few things I think people also have to keep in mind is that Curry is like a skill-based player. Like when you see him play, like even if he has like wide open like shots, like he doesn't try like driving down the lane and just dunking. Like he scores a point and moves on. And I'm just so excited to see when he's like 36, 37, when he's a bit older, and maybe even with another team or even just with the Warriors off like pick and rolls, see if he can become more of a spot-up shooter, because then volume might potentially go up. So honestly, I could see him reaching 30,000 points. Yes, I agree that he is getting a lot older, but I think just given the fact that later on in his career he's gonna have less of a role, I could see him moving up in terms of reaching that 30,000 point milestone, and I could definitely see him surpassing Magic Johnson, because I easily see a championship within Curry's reach in the next couple of years. At least given where the Warriors are now.
Oh man, that's a good conversation too, because listen, the Warriors have had a great season. I think that some of that success has started to tail off a little bit. I don't know. I mean, he's not getting any worse at shooting, so I think the points are going to come.
Yeah.
But I don't think Curry gets another ring. And if they do, it's not with the roster they got right now. Or Kuminga and who's the guy they drafted second overall?
Wiseman.
Those two are going to need to take serious leaps.
Yeah.
I don't think they're contenders this year.
Well, one last thing is, you say that, and I honestly kind of agree that they're not contenders this year, but they're the 3rd seed with the roster they have right now.
Yeah, well, who's the 2 seed?
Well, it's the Grizzlies, the 2 seed.
Do you think
Suns
the Grizzlies can win a championship?
Honestly, it's kind of like a weird Joe Burrow situation here, where it's like, do I see the Bengals getting to the championship? No. Could they? Yes. Could John Morant lead his team to a championship? Hypothetically, yes. Do I really think anyone's gonna beat the Suns? No. But back to the Warriors. If the Warriors are a 3 seed with this roster, what happens if Wiseman really comes into form? What happens if they get one more piece? That's a championship team.
Thompson too. Don't forget about Clay.
Yeah, obviously Clay Thompson as well. Yeah.
Can I just say one quick thing while
Absolutely.
you mention John Morant and the Grizzlies?
Sure.
Overrated.
I think that's ridiculous.
Not the Grizzlies.
Just John Morant?
Just John Morant.
I think that's ridiculous.
Honestly, just given, I think I was actually talking about this with, I think Eli maybe, and I see the way John Morant plays. Reminds me it's kind of like Blake Griffin and Derrick Rose. When I say both of them, an extremely athletic player, but I don't think he's managing his body in a way or managing his play where it sort of promotes longevity. And I see just the way he's dunking and the kind of attempts he's taking. I could see him suffering some kind of. He's already experienced ankle sprains,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
so I could honestly see him suffering an injury in the next couple of years. And I hope he changes things up, because becomes more of a skilled player, becomes a better shooter. But I do kind of see the merit in the statement when you say that he's slightly overrated. But I think if he sort of takes the right steps, sort of like anti-Zion Williamson, and actually takes care of himself the right way, I can see him sustaining this kind of scoring over a next decade easily.
I want to hear the last headline we got, but real quick, real quick. 14 games the Grizzlies have played without Ja Morant.
Mhm.
Any idea what their record is without?
No idea.
12 wins and 2 losses.
That's significant. But I don't think that takes away from his ability.
I think it just speaks to how good the Grizzlies are.
I agree with that, but I still think that Ja Morant, I don't think I would call him underrated at all.